Hello guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to draw the 3/4 view of the face of an anime boy. So let's get started. First off, you are going to draw a circle, a rough circle, and then I'm going to draw a vertical line through the center of the circle, like so. And then I'm just going to make the lines a little bit clearer. Normally when you draw the guidelines, you just want to have them, draw them as lightly as possible. But for the sake of tutoring, I am going to draw them, pretty hard so that you guys can see it. By the way, I'm going to go on and draw a curve on the left side, and that's going to be the center of the face. So it's going to be curved like this. So it's a very rough guideline, so around there. And then I'm going to draw the jaw of the character, and it's basically going to be something like this. I think I'm gonna make his head a little bit longer like this, and then I'm just gonna draw two lines that's gonna be on either side of this center line, and that's gonna be neck. And then of course I'm just gonna make the shoulders like this. So you guys can see that this is basically just two straight lines like this, and then you just smoothen out the corners. But for this part, actually you want to have them curve a little bit like this, and then curve inside again. But it's not that important yet because it's not the final product. I'm just gonna draw a horizontal line on the center of the height of the head, and I'm gonna draw another line that's gonna be the center between this one and this one, so around there, another line. And then here I'm just gonna draw a vertical line, and the distance is, I don't know, you just have to be experienced, but this is just for the guideline for the ear. So it's gonna be around here. The bottom of the ear is gonna be on this line. The top of the ear is gonna be on this line. Well, that of course depends on how your character looks like. And I'm just gonna fill in the ear with some lines. Just gonna have them look like that. And now we can just go on and draw the eyes. So this line is the center of the head, the center of the height of the head, and that indicates where the eyelid is gonna be. So we can just start drawing the eyelid, and then we can start drawing the iris of the eyeballs like this. And then I'm gonna just do that on the other side. So where can you find the position of the eyes? Well, it should be around this one should be around the center between this line and the ear. So, but I move the iris a little bit to right in order to make it so that he's looking at us at the camera. And for this one, it's just the center between the edge and the center of the face. And then I'm just gonna draw the nose. The bottom of the nose is gonna be around where this line is. And I'm gonna give him some kind of impression. So I'm just gonna draw him. I'm gonna give him an angry look like this. That's a little bit too long, but I'm gonna erase that after a little bit. Pretty good. And then for the mouth, the tip of the mouth is gonna be, of course, on the center of the face. So let me just zoom in a little bit. You can see that this curve, the highest point is gonna be on the center of the face. And actually, I'm gonna erase that because the thing about the mouth being angry is that they are pressing towards each other. So the middle of it is gonna be thinner than the rest of the mouth, but it was wrong. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now I'm just gonna making his chin a little bit more natural by giving him kind of curving a little bit outwards again, and then making it much more like a curve down there, like this. And then I'm just gonna connect the ear, and then these two lines is just gonna be there. Pretty good. So now what I'm gonna do is to draw the lower line for the eyes, of course. Kind of forget that. And then I think I'm gonna shade them, but I think I'll do that at the end. Or no, I'm just gonna do that now. And we're done with the eyes. So for the shading, you're just gonna give him, I mean the iris, a highlight and then a half circle. Or I mean there are many ways to do that. You know, in my older videos, in my older video where I show you guys how to draw the 3/4 view, I think I didn't do this, but you know, no, I'm not gonna, you know, forget about the half circle. I'm just gonna make it completely dark except for the highlight. Kind of like simplicity is a pretty good way, and simple way, and it works. So let's just use it. So the thing about drawing the eyes is that you want to keep them as symmetrical as possible. You know, of course they have to be proportional, not exactly identical. But the thing is, the height should be the same and the width should be proportional. So this one is narrower, but everything that gets scaled, so the scale of things should be the same. I mean, it should not be the same, but compared to each other, it should be the same. Okay, so I'm just gonna start drawing the hair. So think about the thing about drawing the hair is just that, I mean, there are many ways to do that also. You just have to pick a hairstyle. I'm gonna go for a little bit spiky, which is a very normal hairstyle in anime. And I'm gonna choose a dot around there, and then all the lines of the hair is gonna point towards it. I mean the lines on the fringe, on the forehead, is gonna point towards it. And on, I mean around the head, it does not have to point towards that point, because it just don't have to. So instead there are just gonna be some spikes growing out from the circle that we've drawn in the beginning, and depending on where or the style of your style, you want to decide, I mean, give how much volume to his hair. So sometimes this time I drew the hair very close to the circle, but sometimes I want to draw the hair a little bit away from circle, simply to give his head and hair a little bit more volume. And actually I think I drew them a little bit too close, so I'm just going to erase a part of it, and then I'm just gonna make them look like this. And I think it's quite good proportionally. Doesn't look like his brain is too small, doesn't look like his brain is too big. And then I think, no, I don't need to give him shoulders and stuff like that. The face is the focus of the video. And I really think we're done, so I'm just gonna add some details, because it feels like this eyebrow is just a straight line, which it shouldn't be. So I'm just gonna erase this part so it ends there. I'm gonna give it a little bit more thickness. That's very normal in anime. It's not just one line. Also gonna make the upper eyelid a little bit thicker, like this. And I'm gonna make the nose a little bit clearer. And by the way, I didn't tell you guys how to draw the nose, but basically just draw these 2 lines, and then you draw the nostrils. At least this is just one way to draw the nose. Of course, somebody just like to do 1 dot for the nose, but I think that's a little bit too feminine for my style in this case. So I think we're really done. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to switch to a 4B pencil. I was using a HB, and I'm just going to redraw all the lines. I'm just going to redraw all the lines in order to make the lines much thicker. Might do a time lapse now, but you know, some people don't like time lapse, so I think I'm just going to keep this without time lapse. Or should I? I don't know. But you know, actually I can explain something to you about this part of drawing. This is basically called inking. So normally you want to have, you want to do this, but after this you want to do the inking process, but it's basically the same thing. So in the inking process, you basically take an inking pen and then you just redraw all the lines in order to make them permanent and also much clearer and bolder and stronger. And most people think that it's much more beautiful when the lines are complete and inked, but I personally think it's kind of alright, but you know, it's about preference. And what you want to remember about this inking process is that you want to make the lines look like 1 stroke. You want to be able to do those strokes, draw those strokes in 1 swipe. That's a goal. But it's really hard for me now because I'm in a video, so I try not to turn the paper around, and it poses a problem when I don't turn them around, because then my hand movement is gonna match, but you know, whatever. And also the thing about a 4B pencil is that it's still erasable, but it's gonna be really hard and it's not gonna look beautiful when you erase them. So try your best. You probably don't have a 4B pencil, but just try your best to not draw those lines wrong, because actually the real inking process should be done with an inking pen, which is actually permanent once it touches the paper. So in that case, you really don't want to mess up your drawing by doing the inking process. So before you become a manga artist, you might want to, take an inking pen and start doing some training on that. But nowadays, people do that in Photoshop or Manga Studio, so I don't think that's a problem nowadays. So basically, you guys can forget about doing inking training, but inking is still a large part of drawing. Just now, I've done inking everything, and well, normally you want to erase all the guidelines before you do the inking process, but in this case we did it. We don't want to waste time erasing. There's really nothing to learn from erasing. So I'm gonna just start doing the shadowing and shading. Some people say it's really hard to do the shadowing and shading. I personally think it's really easy, because it's just about finding the correct places to choose to put your shadow. And a lot of times, if you have just looked at some 3D objects for reference, should be able for you to understand where different shadows should be. Below the nose, there's gonna be some shadows. Sometimes you're gonna leave that one out, but in this case, I'm gonna include them, and then I'm just gonna add some shadows below that hair strand. I'm gonna actually add shadow below this one, shadow on this side, since I had some guidelines there, or ghost lines there, leftover lines basically. and this one disappeared. That's okay. I think I'm just gonna have some shadows on this. So there are two ways to do shadows. You can do the cross hatching or the gradient or filling. What I'm doing now is the gradient or fillings way to do shadowing, and basically I just fill the places that I want to give shadow to with a shade. But if you do the cross hatching, basically you just do diagonal lines, and that works too. It's just a matter of preference. Some people prefer that, and some people prefer the other, and it doesn't really matter. And I think it's actually easier to do this filling thing because there's really nothing to care about except for the pressure. You just want to keep the pressure even, and also you want to try to not switch direction of your swiping on the way, because you can see that I'm swiping this way now on the gradient. It's only if you're able to fill with a shade in a way so that you actually can't see those lines, that's when you can rotate your pen to your liking. But I don't think most people can do that. In that case, you have to keep it on the same direction so it looks more consistent. And we're done. Of course, there are some guidelines that I haven't erased yet, but this is the final product. I smudged some of something onto the paper, and that's not a problem. I hope you guys learned something new, and if you want to see more, just subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, just leave a like, and if you have any questions, leave that in the comment section below, and I will be back with another video pretty soon. I also want to apologize for my inactivity recently, and that's because I have a lot of school projects and part-time jobs, Science Olympiads, but I'll be back to making videos now, so stay tuned, and I'll be back with another video, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.